What's up everybody, it's Darth Morley here, and today I thought we'd try something a little bit different because the other day a friend asked me actually how I was so good at Call of Duty, and it got me thinking about why actually I am a pretty good player at Call of Duty. It might sound a little bit big-headed, but I do recognise obviously I'm not the best Call of Duty player ever, and there's probably, or definitely, thousands of players that are actually better than me, but I think my KD on Black Ops, which is what I've been playing the most recently, is 5.6, so it's pretty good. And I'll just tell you about the gameplay here quickly. The reason it's Modern Warfare 2 is because it's one of the games I hadn't actually played on one of my accounts, and I thought it'd be best just to show me basically playing on a fresh account. And I'm actually using an SMG, which is something I don't normally do. I'm normally very conservative in the way I play. I'm not really the type that runs around with an SMG, but I was thinking about it, and that seems to be the way that most people I come across play the game, so I thought that'd be the best sort of style to show me trying to incorporate the things that I'm about to tell you. So the whole point of this is to help you get a better kill to death ratio, and as you can see here, going to be playing team deathmatch on underpass with the UMP standard class. But I guarantee you, if you follow this series from this video until its conclusion, that you will be able to improve your KD probably to the point where you break over a 2. It's not actually too difficult to do, but it's a lot of small things all added together. Sorry. Yeah, a lot of small things all added together that will help you improve your game. And it will work with any playstyle at all. So the first thing I want to cover, and today we're just going to be doing very basic tips, and forgive me if you already know a lot of these things, as you probably do, but I believe a lot of them are actually overlooked and you should pay attention to them. Now, the first thing is sensitivity, and a lot of people I see make the mistake of thinking that higher is actually better, when that is definitely not the case. You want to really be playing on quite a low sensitivity. I tend to play on a 5, but anywhere between 3 and 5 is good because it helps you stay on target a lot better than if you're on a higher sensitivity. Really, there is no reason to play above a 5. I know a lot of snipers tend to think it's good for their quick scoping and stuff, but you don't need to play on a high sensitivity to be good at sniping or any type of gameplay. Next thing, number 2, is the button layout, and again, I always recommend people do this, but not a lot of people believe me when I tell them it actually makes a huge difference. Is you want to switch, if you're playing on the default layout, you want to switch to tactical, and it will be a bit weird at first, but once you get used to it, it's definitely the way to go, because all that switching to tactical does is it swaps your knife button and your crouch and prone button around, so they're opposite. But basically what that means is you have all the movement on your thumbsticks, and the only time you ever have to take your hands off the thumbsticks is to reload your weapon, and that makes a massive difference, because if you play on default, every time you want to change your stance to go prone or crouch, you have to be taking your hand off the thumbstick, which is not good. And obviously it helps you drop shot, but that's something I'll cover later on. Now the third thing, and this is probably the most important, is the minimap. You really need to pay attention to the minimap. I see a lot of people overlooking its importance. I mean, you don't want to be just looking at it when you've got a UAV or a Blackbird or anything like that. You want to really be checking your UAV every sort of 3 to 5 seconds, and I'm being deadly serious here. Like, not just staring at it, but just having a quick glance at it, seeing where the red dots are, and that way it gives you a general idea of where the enemies are. That can help you either try and engage them or avoid them, depending on how you want to play the situation. game types as well. If you're looking to improve your KD, then you really do not want to be playing the objective game modes with improving your KD in mind, because it's not fair on the other players, and it's actually a lot harder to do. Your main focus should always be the win. I should absolutely stress that. You should always be wanting to win the game. So if you're trying to improve your KD, I would suggest sticking just to team deathmatch and free-for-all, at least at first, because in those game types basically your KD is the objective, and you're not hurting your team by trying to get a good KD. And basically the last thing, as a basic sort of tip I want to give out, is just try and slow down a bit. I mean, it doesn't matter what your play style is. I see a lot of people just charging in without thinking about what they're getting themselves into. You see here, I get injured, almost die. I just take a little chill in the grass, and then as soon as I'm healed, I'm back up and on the move again. You always just want to think about what kind of situation you're going to be going in before you run in, whether you're going round a corner or into a building. And as a general bit of advice, what I always do is I always assume the worst case scenario. And what I mean by that is I always assume that I'm going to run into somebody who's already aiming at me and already about to pull that trigger. And that way, that just kind of stops you from just rushing in thinking, oh, it's going to be okay, nobody's going to be there. Because quite often there is. As you can see here, just calling in a care package. Actually get pretty lucky with this care package and get a pay flow, although I don't think it actually does that much for me. Unfortunately, I think we lose this game, but that's not for any of my fault. But if you've been paying attention to the gameplay here, you'll see that although I am running around with the UMP, I don't just go charging on in. I quite often take a little pause and just think about what's happening before I go around a corner or into a room. I do make a couple of mistakes, but that's going to happen anyway. But what you will notice as well is every time I'm running, I'm always trying to keep myself like some sort of cover between myself and any possible enemies, and that's absolutely what you have to do. Always should be trying to keep cover between you and the enemies. See, unfortunately I died there and there was no cover. Enemy gets an AC-130 in the air, so basically I'm just going to hide because I have no way of taking it out. The only option for me here is to hide. And another thing I'd quickly say as a kind of basic tip, which I see again a lot of people make the mistake of calling in their kill streaks straight away as soon as they get them. You really don't want to be doing that. You really want to wait until you're in the kind of situation where you know there's nobody about before you call your kill streaks in, even if it's just UAV, because it takes a good second or two to call that UAV in, and that's a second or two where you're exposed. And also, you always want to check thoroughly before you go for an enemy care package, because otherwise that happens. But another thing I would say is always consider what you're going to do with your kill streaks carefully. Like, you saw me get a sentry gun earlier. I don't think it actually got any kills. But you don't just want to plonk that down wherever the hell you feel like it. You want to try and place it in a position where it's actually going to see a decent amount of traffic. And again, these are all basic things. However, they're things that are quite often overlooked. And anyway, I think this game's about to wrap up pretty soon, and just like to say that there'll be more coming in this series. Hopefully some more advanced tips, because I've kind of aiming this at people that have sort of under a 2KD, and hopefully if you follow this series from this video all the way to the end of the series, and you try and incorporate all the things that I'm trying to teach you into your gameplay, you will see an improvement. Even if you do have over a 2 KD or whatever, I still think there's quite a lot of things that get overlooked, and maybe you'll pick up one or two of the things that you didn't know about or have forgotten about, or you don't really incorporate that much into your game. Hopefully I help a few people along the way. I think I went 28 to 10, which is a 2.8 KD, and I was using a submachine gun on a map I don't really like, on standard definition when I'm used to HDMI output. You see, I'm just showing my stats here. Anyway, thank you guys for watching the video. If you liked it, please leave a like.